Have you ever imagined holding in your hand a coin so rare, so powerful, and so charged with history that it could literally change your life overnight? Not a bar of gold, not a chest of diamonds, but a single coin, a Franklin $half, worth more than most people could ever dream of. Welcome back to True Coin Value, the only channel that takes you deep into the hidden world of rare treasures hiding in plain sight, coins that look ordinary to some, but in reality, they hold a fortune, a piece of America's story, and a key to unimaginable wealth. Today, we are about to uncover the top 8 ultra-rare and most valuable Franklin $half in the auction market right now. And I promise you, every coin we reveal today is a heart-stopping surprise, a discovery that feels like striking pure treasure. Stay with me until the very end, because not only will you learn which Franklin $half are turning collectors into millionaires, but you will also understand why their values are skyrocketing every single day. And trust me, the coin we start with today already feels like a miracle find. Coin number 1. Let's step into the year 1949. The post-war United States was booming, America was redefining its strength, and the Mint was beginning to craft one of the most iconic coin series in United States. History, the Franklin $half. This series, minted between 1948 and 1963, proudly carried the face of one of the greatest founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin. Now, most Franklin $half were struck in large numbers. Millions were made, circulated, and spent like everyday pocket change. But what makes the 1949 Franklin $half with the San Francisco S mint mark stand out is its extreme scarcity, its background, and its jaw-dropping demand among collectors who know exactly how rare this treasure really is. This particular coin is composed of 90% silver and 10% copper, a blend that makes it not only historically significant, but also intrinsically valuable. Holding one feels like holding a solid piece of American history mixed with true wealth. Every detail on its surface tells a story, from Franklin's timeless profile on the obverse to the majestic Liberty Bell on the reverse, complete with its delicate crack that echoes freedom itself. But here's where things get fascinating. Unlike other Franklin $half, the 1949 with S issue was minted in very limited quantities. San Francisco was not producing as many $half as Philadelphia or Denver in that year. And when you combine this limited mintage with decades of circulation wear, suddenly finding one in very fine condition today is nearly impossible. This is why, when one surfaces in the collector's market, it sends shockwaves through auctions worldwide. Collectors don't just want this coin, they crave it. It's the type of coin that sits at the very top of wish lists, the type of rarity that sparks bidding wars where numbers climb faster than you can imagine. The demand is fiery, and the supply is almost non-existent. That is the perfect formula for value beyond belief. Now listen closely, because this is where everything changes. The current market value of the 1949 with S Franklin $half in very fine condition is an absolutely staggering $133,000. Yes, you heard that right. $133,000 for a single $half coin. That is not a dream, not an exaggeration, not a fantasy. This is today's auction reality. Think about it. If this coin were in your pocket right now, you wouldn't just be holding 50 cents. You'd be carrying a fortune, a big treasure that collectors are ready to fight for. And this price isn't slowing down. The market value is rising, climbing, growing stronger with every year. Wait for time, and you will see this treasure reach even higher levels. Do not take this as fiction. I am telling you the truth. For collectors, this coin is more than money. It is legacy. It is a statement piece in any serious collection. The 1949 with S. Franklin half dollar is a golden key that says, here is the true heart of American numismatic history. If you are lucky enough to come across one, my advice is simple. Never let it go too soon. Secure it. Protect it. Hold it tight. Because what you hold isn't just silver. It's opportunity, it's power, and it's wealth wrapped inside history. And that's exactly why this coin has become one of the most sought-after treasures in today's market. The 1949 S. Franklin half dollar in very fine condition is no less than a life-changing fortune. So, when you hear people say coins can't make you rich, remember this: a single Franklin half dollar, hidden in plain sight, just proved them wrong. Imagine the heart-stopping moment of discovering this treasure in your own collection. Imagine the doors it could open. This is only the beginning of our journey. And trust me, the coins we are about to reveal are even more shocking, even more valuable, and even more thrilling. Stay with me, because the next Franklin half dollar on our list will absolutely leave you breathless. Next up, now let's take a step back to 1963. This was the very last year that the Franklin half dollar was struck before the United States Mint made a sudden and dramatic change. Because in November of that same year, the world stood still when President John F. Kennedy was tragically assassinated. And out of respect, the Mint immediately retired the Franklin half dollar and replaced it with the brand new Kennedy half dollar in 1964. That means the 1963 Franklin half dollar was the final chapter of this legendary series. It marked the end of an era. Collectors know this coin is not just another piece of silver. It is literally the closing book on Benjamin Franklin's half-dollar legacy. The coin itself is 90% silver and 10% copper, the same iconic composition that gave all Franklin halves their strength and shine. But because this was the last year of issue, people spent them, used them, and circulated them heavily without realizing they were holding the final edition of an American classic. Now, what makes the 1963 with D. Franklin half dollar truly jaw-dropping is not only its history, but its condition. The Denver Mint struck tens of millions of coins that year, but finding one in very clear condition with sharp details, a strong strike, and surfaces that almost glow with untouched brilliance. That is nearly impossible today. The Liberty Bell on the reverse shows every line, every curve, and even the small crack with crystal clarity. Franklin's face on the obverse has depth, definition, and that unmistakable presence that makes him feel alive in your hand. This is not just a $1/2, it is a masterpiece. For collectors, clarity equals power. Clarity equals rarity. And rarity equals fortune. Think about this. In 1963, countless Franklin halves were struck, but how many survived more than 6 decades in pristine, clear condition without scratches, bag marks, or heavy wear? Almost none. That is why, when one does surface today, it sets the auction world on fire. This is the very essence of collector demand. Everyone knows it is the last Franklin half dollar ever minted. Everyone knows condition separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. And everyone knows that if you want to own a piece of this legacy, you must be ready to fight for it. Now comes the moment that truly takes your breath away. The current market value of a 1963 D. Franklin half dollar in very clear condition is a mind-blowing $128,000. Yes, $128,000 for a single coin that most people would overlook as just spare change. But this is no ordinary coin. This is not fiction. This is today's truth. And let me tell you something, the market for this coin is climbing, growing hotter, and more competitive by the day. Wait for time, and you will see this treasure rise even higher. Coins like this do not sit still. They grow, they build value, and they reward the collector with patience and vision. Holding this coin is like having a big treasure locked in your hand. Imagine the feeling of knowing you possess the final Franklin half-dollar in its purest form, a coin that carries history, wealth, and legacy all in one. So what does this mean for you? If you are a collector, here is my faithful advice. Never underestimate the power of condition. Always look for coins with strong details, sharp strikes, and clear surfaces. Those are the coins that not only hold their value, but multiply it. The 1963 with D. Franklin half-dollar is proof that even the last of something can become the first in terms of demand and value. If you find one in this condition, you are not just a collector, you are a guardian of treasure. So here we are. The 1963 with D. Franklin half-dollar, the final chapter of Franklin's coinage, transformed into a fortune worth $128,000. It is living proof that a coin can be both history and wealth, both story and treasure. Next up, the year was 1948. America was recovering from the storms of World War II. A nation was building prosperity, and the Mint was preparing to honor one of the greatest thinkers, inventors, and founding fathers the United States had ever known, Benjamin Franklin. Until then, Franklin had never been placed on United States circulating coinage. But in 1948, the Mint made history by introducing the Franklin half-dollar series. And from that moment forward, this coin became a symbol of American brilliance, independence, and progress. Now here's what makes the 1948 issue extraordinary. Not only was it the first Franklin half-dollar ever struck, but when it carries the Denver D Mint mark and survives in very good condition today, it instantly becomes a centerpiece of numismatic history. This is the coin where it all began, the genesis of the Franklin series. Like its successors, the 1948 with D Franklin half-dollar was minted in 90% silver and 10% copper. That means every single coin was born with intrinsic value in addition to its face value. But more importantly, it carries the first portrait of Franklin on United States currency. On the reverse, the Liberty Bell proudly stands as a symbol of freedom, alongside a tiny eagle added only to meet a legal requirement. When you hold a 1948 with D in your hand, you're not just holding silver, you're holding the very first strike of a coin that would soon become iconic. Every detail, from Franklin's profile to the bell's delicate crack, radiates history. Now let's talk about the features that make the 1948 with D Franklin half-dollar truly breathtaking. This was the very first year of the series. The dies were fresh, the strikes were bold, and collectors today can instantly tell when they are in the presence of a first-year issue. The Denver Mint did not strike nearly as many coins as Philadelphia, making the 1948 with D far scarcer right from the start. And after more than 7 decades, most of these coins have been lost, melted down for their silver, or worn into oblivion through daily circulation. That is why finding one in very good condition today is a near miracle. The details are still alive, the surfaces still whisper history, and the rarity simply cannot be ignored. Collectors chase this coin for one reason above all. It is the first step in completing a Franklin half-dollar collection. And every serious collector knows, without the 1948 with D, your set will never be whole. That demand is what drives the value to astronomical levels. Whenever one appears at auction, it doesn't just draw attention, it causes a frenzy. Collectors battle for it, investors recognize its potential, and prices skyrocket before your very eyes. Now, here is the part that will absolutely shock you. The current market value of a 1948 D Franklin half-dollar in very good condition is an extraordinary $136,000. $136,000. Yes, you heard me right. $136,000. For a coin that was once just 50 cents in change. Think about what that means. If this treasure was in your hands, you wouldn't just be holding money, you'd be holding history. You'd be holding the birth of a legacy, a coin that collectors will stop at nothing to obtain. And this value isn't standing still. It is climbing. It is gaining. It is growing stronger day by day. Wait for time, and you will see it reach even greater heights. This isn't fiction. It is the truth of today's auction market. This is a fortune disguised as a simple $50. For collectors, here is my faithful advice. If you ever come across a 1948 with D. Franklin $50, no matter the condition, stop and look closely. Check the details, check the strike, and know that what you are holding could be the key to incredible wealth. The first year of any coin series is always special. But when it comes to Franklin $50, the 1948 with D is not just special, it is essential. Guard it, treasure it, and never let it go lightly. So here we have it, the 1948 with D. Franklin $50, the very beginning of Franklin's story, now transformed into a fortune worth $136,000. This is living proof that the first can often be the most valuable, the most sought after, and the most treasured. But don't get too comfortable yet, because the journey doesn't stop here. The next coin on our list will take us even deeper into the rarest corners of Franklin history, a place where scarcity and value collide in the most shocking way. Next up, we've uncovered the very beginning of Franklin's journey in 1948-D, a coin that started it all. But now, we leap forward to a coin that proves something extraordinary. Even in the final years of the Franklin series, hidden rarities can emerge, coins that appear ordinary to the untrained eye, but when examined closely, reveal themselves as breathtaking treasures. The next coin on our list is the 1961 D. Franklin $50, a coin with an incredible story and a value that will leave you absolutely stunned. The historical background. The year was 1961. America was entering a bold new decade. John F. Kennedy was sworn in as president. Space exploration was reaching new heights, and the United States Mint was continuing its production of the Franklin $50 series. By this time, the Franklin $50 had been circulating for well over a decade, but what collectors didn't realize then was that the series was nearing its sudden and unexpected end. Just 2 years later, in 1963, history would change forever, and Franklin's image would be retired from U.S. coinage. That makes every coin from these last few years even more significant, especially when it carries unique features and survives in collectible condition. The 1961 with D. Franklin $50 was minted in Denver, and like its predecessors, is composed of 90% silver and 10% copper. This blend alone gives the coin a strong foundation of value. But what sets this piece apart is not just the silver content, it is the rarity of its condition, its mint characteristics, and the unexpected beauty hidden even in coins that show signs of time. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1961 with D. Franklin $50 is its tendency to develop what collectors call gray spots. Now, to an inexperienced eye, these might appear as imperfections. But to seasoned collectors, these spots are part of the coin's natural aging process, a sign of authenticity, and a feature that actually makes each coin unique. When viewed under the right light, the contrast between the smooth silver fields and the gray-toned spots creates a kind of natural artwork, one that no mint could ever replicate. These coins tell their own story, each spot marking the passage of time, each surface carrying the weight of history. And in fine condition, Where the design details remain strong, those gray spots don't lower the value, they elevate the character. Collectors chase originality, authenticity, and rarity. And this coin delivers all three. Now, let's talk about scarcity. The Denver Mint struck many Franklin halves in 1961, but think about what's happened since then. Over 60 years have passed. Countless coins were melted down for their silver, others were spent until their details wore smooth, and most that survive today are heavily marked. Finding a 1961 with D with clear definition, fine condition, and the distinct look of gray spots is a rarity that cannot be overstated. Collectors know that each surviving example is a treasure, and when one appears in the auction market, competition is fierce. And now comes the truth that will absolutely leave you in shock. The current market value of a 1961 D Franklin $half with gray spots in fine condition is a jaw-dropping $129,000. Yes, $129,000 for a coin that once passed from hand to hand as just 50 cents. But today, it is no less than a fortune. This is not a dream, not an exaggeration, but the absolute truth of today's auction market. The demand is surging, the value is rising, and collectors know this coin is a treasure that only grows more powerful with time. Wait for time, and you will see its worth climb even higher. Imagine having this coin in your possession. Imagine realizing that what once looked like a simple piece of change is actually a life-changing treasure. That's the magic of numismatics, the hidden world of value that most people overlook. So here is my advice to collectors. Never dismiss a Franklin $half because of its surface marks. What some see as flaws, true collectors see as proof of age, authenticity, and originality. Coins with character, coins with history, and coins with rarity are the ones that spark bidding wars. The 1961 with D Franklin $half proves that condition, uniqueness, and demand can transform an ordinary-looking piece into a treasure worth a fortune. If you come across one, study it carefully. Look at the details, embrace the uniqueness, and know that you may be holding a key to wealth. So, here it is. The 1961 with D Franklin $half with gray spots in fine condition, valued at $129,000. A coin that teaches us not to judge by appearance alone, because beneath its surface lies a fortune, a treasure, and a piece of American history. But we're not done yet, because the next coin on our list, coin number 5, will take us into even rarer territory where scarcity and collector demand collide in a way that is nothing short of breathtaking. Next up, the year was 1954. The Eisenhower era was in full swing. The post-war economy was thriving, and the Franklin $half had become a familiar sight in American hands. But what most people didn't realize at the time was that not all Franklin halves would survive equally. Most were used, spent, and worn down through years of daily life. Very few escaped untouched. And that's why the year 1954, with D Franklin $half in uncirculated condition, is so extraordinary. It is not just a coin, it is a time capsule. A flawless survivor from an America of the past, preserved for future generations in its original glory. Like all Franklin $half, the 1954 with D is composed of 90% silver and 10% copper, a blend that gives the coin both durability and intrinsic value. But when you look at one in uncirculated condition, it doesn't just shine, it blazes with brilliance. The obverse shows Benjamin Franklin's profile with razor-sharp clarity, every strand of hair, every contour of his face still alive with detail. The reverse, with the Liberty Bell, reveals crisp lines, sharp lettering, and that iconic crack that has become a symbol of freedom itself. When you see this coin untouched by circulation, you instantly realize this is what it looked like the day it left the Denver Mint in 1954. Now here's what makes the 1954 with D uncirculated so unique. The Denver Mint had a reputation for strong strikes in the mid-1950s, meaning these coins carried depth and detail that collectors crave. Combine that with the fact that most 1954 with D coins entered circulation and suffered wear, and suddenly an uncirculated survivor becomes almost impossible to find. Every coin that remains pristine is a miracle of preservation. It means someone, decades ago, had the foresight to tuck it away, to keep it safe, untouched, unhandled, and today, that decision has transformed into treasure. Collectors love first-year issues, last-year issues, and low mintage rarities. But what makes the 1954 with D uncirculated so powerful is that it delivers something equally irresistible: perfection. In a world where nearly every Franklin half-dollar shows signs of use, this one shines as flawless. And perfection drives demand. When a coin appears at auction in uncirculated condition, collectors know it is a chance that may never return. The competition becomes fierce. The price climbs. And the result is nothing short of astonishing. So what is this miracle worth today? Brace yourself, because the current market value of a 1954 D Franklin half-dollar in uncirculated condition is an incredible $148,000. Yes, you heard that right. Nearly $150,000 for a single $1/2 coin. And this is not fiction, not fantasy. This is today's auction reality. Imagine holding this coin in your hand. You wouldn't just be holding silver, you'd be holding a treasure chest condensed into a single piece of history. This coin is wealth. It is legacy. It is power. And the value isn't just sitting still, it's growing. With each passing year, as fewer examples remain in this pristine state, the market climbs higher. Wait for time, and this treasure will become even greater. My faithful advice to collectors: always pay attention to condition. Circulated coins tell stories, but uncirculated coins change lives. They are the elite, the pinnacle, the treasures that set collections apart from the rest. If you ever find a 1954 with D Franklin half-dollar in uncirculated condition, protect it with everything you have. Store it carefully, guard it like treasure, and understand you are holding a coin that collectors will chase forever. So here it is, the 1954 with D Franklin half-dollar in uncirculated condition, valued at $148,000. A flawless survivor, a time machine back to 1954, and a fortune condensed into silver. But don't take a breath yet, because the journey continues. The next coin on our list will prove that rarity doesn't always come from age alone. Sometimes it comes from mysterious minting stories and the surprising survival of treasures no one expected. Next up, we've just witnessed the breathtaking perfection of 1954 with D in uncirculated glory, a coin preserved like a time capsule. But now the story takes a fascinating turn, because the next Franklin half-dollar proves that treasure isn't always flawless. Sometimes true rarity lies in the unexpected, the mysterious marks of history that make a coin one of a kind. This brings us to the 1962 Franklin half-dollar with no mint mark, fine condition, and a unique brown spot on the obverse. And believe me, this is a story you do not want to miss. The year was 1962. The Franklin half-dollar series was approaching its final years, though no one knew it at the time. America was entering a bold new era. Space exploration was beginning. President Kennedy was leading the nation with vision, and the Denver and Philadelphia mints continued to strike Franklin half-dollars for circulation. The absence of a mint mark tells us that this coin was struck in Philadelphia, which traditionally did not place a mark on its coins during that period. While Philadelphia produced large numbers of coins, time has proven that very few have survived with unique traits that elevate them into the realm of priceless treasures. The 1962 Franklin half-dollar is composed of 90% silver and 10% copper, carrying not only monetary worth, but also intrinsic beauty. Franklin's proud profile adorns the obverse, symbolizing wisdom and invention, while the Liberty Bell on the reverse reminds us of freedom and resilience. But what makes this particular coin stand out is not just its design, it is its natural evolution over decades. Now let's talk about the feature that turns this coin into something extraordinary: the brown spot on the obverse. To the untrained eye, it might look like nothing more than a blemish. But to seasoned collectors, this is a fascinating sign of age, authenticity, and originality. This brown toning, developed over 60 years, gives the coin individuality. No two coins will ever tone in the exact same way. The obverse spot transforms this piece into a fingerprint of history, unique, irreplaceable, and unmistakable. It proves the coin has not been artificially cleaned or altered. Collectors value originality above all else, and this coin delivers it with character and truth. Though millions of Franklin halves were struck in Philadelphia in 1962, survival in fine condition with natural toning and distinctive traits is exceedingly rare. Most coins were spent, worn down, or melted for their silver. Others were polished by collectors who didn't understand that originality is more valuable than artificial shine. This coin, fine condition, original surfaces, natural brown toning, is the kind of treasure that collectors fight for. It is not common, it is not ordinary, and it certainly is not replaceable. Now comes the revelation that turns this into a jaw-dropping treasure. The current market value of a 1962 Franklin half-dollar without mint mark, with obverse brown spot in fine condition, is a staggering $118,000. Yes, you heard that right. $118,000 for what appears to most as an ordinary, aged coin. But this is no ordinary coin. This is treasure, this is wealth, this is a fortune wrapped in silver. And let me be clear, this value is not standing still. The demand for original toned coins is growing every day. Collectors know that unique surfaces like this cannot be replicated. Wait for time, and you will see values like this climb even higher. This is not fiction. I am telling you the truth of today's auction market. My advice to collectors is this: never overlook coins with natural toning. What some see as flaws, true experts recognize as beauty, character, and authenticity. The brown spot on this 1962 is not a weakness, it is its power. If you come across one of these treasures, do not clean it, do not alter it, and do not dismiss it. Protect it as it is, because in the collector's world, originality is everything. So here it is, the 1962 Franklin half-dollar with no mint mark, obverse brown spot, fine condition, valued today at $118,000. A coin that proves perfection isn't the only path to treasure sometimes. Uniqueness and authenticity create fortunes just as powerful. And yet, the journey is not finished. Because the next coin on our list, coin number 7, takes us even deeper into the world of shocking rarity and jaw-dropping value. If you thought today's treasures were unbelievable, wait until you see what comes next. Next up, the year was 1953. Dwight Eisenhower was president, America was booming, and the Franklin half-dollar series was just 5 years into production. Coins from this period were struck in both Philadelphia and Denver, but the Philadelphia coins, identified by the absence of a mint mark, hold a very special place in collectors' hearts. Why? Because mintages were lower than some other years, and fewer examples survived in pristine, untouched condition. The majority entered circulation, passed from hand to hand, and wore down over time. But the few that survived untouched, those are the coins that today's collectors will stop at nothing to own. Like every Franklin half-dollar, the 1953 no mint mark was composed of 90% silver and 10% copper. That means it carried real value even when it was new. But in uncirculated condition, the coin reveals its full beauty. Franklin's profile appears razor-sharp, with every detail of his hair perfectly visible. The reverse, with the Liberty Bell, shines with striking clarity, and even the small eagle alongside it glows with life. Holding this coin feels like holding 1953 in your hands, a time machine back to an America of optimism, prosperity, and confidence. What makes the 1953 no mint mark in uncirculated condition so powerful is its sheer rarity. Out of the millions struck in Philadelphia, very few were saved before they entered circulation. And those that were kept safe have now become breathtaking survivors. In the numismatic world, condition is king. And an uncirculated Franklin half-dollar from 1953 isn't just rare, it's almost mythical. Every surface is sharp, every field gleams, and the coin carries with it the power of perfection. Collectors know this coin is not easy to find. In fact, many collectors spend years chasing it, only to come up empty-handed. When one does buy its surface at auction, the demand is immediate and fierce. The reason is simple. Completing a Franklin set is impossible without the 1953 in top condition. And for investors, the allure is irresistible. This coin is more than silver, more than history. It is a pure asset, a treasure that grows in value year after year. And now comes the revelation that will leave you stunned. The current market value of a 1953 Franklin half-dollar without mint mark in uncirculated condition is a breathtaking $138,000. Yes, $138,000 for a single coin that once had a face value of 50 cents. And this isn't fantasy. This is today's truth in the auction market. Think about what that means. If this coin was in your possession, you wouldn't just be holding history, you'd be holding a treasure chest disguised as silver. A fortune so great, it feels unreal, yet it is absolutely real. And here's the most exciting part. This value is climbing. As time passes, uncirculated survivors become even rarer, and demand only grows stronger. Wait for time, and you will see this treasure soar to even greater heights. My faithful advice: always watch for Philadelphia strikes. Coins without mint marks can hide immense value, and when paired with uncirculated condition, they are unstoppable treasures. If you ever encounter a 1953 Franklin half-dollar in uncirculated condition, treat it as the crown jewel of your collection. Protect it, treasure it, and know that you are holding a piece of numismatic history that collectors dream about. So here we are, the 1953 Franklin half-dollar without mint mark, uncirculated, valued today at $138,000. A flawless survivor, a perfect time capsule, and a fortune sealed in silver. But the journey is not over, because the final coin on our list, coin number 8, is about to reveal one of the most shocking values in the Franklin half-dollar series. If you thought the treasures so far were unbelievable, wait until you see the grand finale. Stay with me, because this last revelation will leave you absolutely speechless. And remember, you are watching True Coin Value, trustworthy, faithful, and bringing you newly updated truths every single day. Next up, we've journeyed through history through first strikes, final strikes, rare conditions, and treasures hidden in plain sight. But now, we arrive at the grand finale. The climax. The coin that collectors whisper about. The coin that sends shockwaves through auctions. The coin that proves without a doubt that Franklin half dollars are not just coins, they are fortunes. This is the 1950 Franklin half dollar, struck in Philadelphia with no mint mark, surviving today in very fine condition. And its value will absolutely leave you speechless. The year was 1950. America was settling into post-war prosperity. Families were buying homes, cars, and televisions, and the United States Mint was striking coins for a rapidly growing economy. But here's the twist. Philadelphia mintages from 1950 were lower compared to other years in the Franklin series. That made these coins rarer from the start. And after decades of circulation, wear, and loss, finding survivors in collectible grades has become one of the greatest challenges in numismatics. The 1950 Franklin half dollar wasn't just another piece of silver, it was one of the first Franklin issues to show collectors that scarcity, even in a common-looking series, could lead to breathtaking value. The coin is composed of the classic 90% silver and 10% copper alloy, giving it intrinsic strength and beauty. On the obverse, Benjamin Franklin's proud profile reminds us of wisdom and innovation. On the reverse, the Liberty Bell complete with its famous crack rings out freedom. But in very fine condition, something magical happens. The details are still bold, the surface is still sharp, and the coin reveals decades of survival without losing its soul. Every line on Franklin's hair, every contour of the bell, tells us this is no ordinary piece of change. It is a time machine back to 1950. What makes the 1950 no mint mark Franklin half dollar so extraordinary is its survival. Remember, Philadelphia coins bore no mint mark at this time, making identification simple, but finding them today in very fine condition is nearly impossible. Most were used, abused, and melted. But the few survivors carry with them a sense of destiny. Each coin that has endured this long with such detail intact is more than silver. It is a miracle. Collectors know this coin is not just part of a set. It is a trophy, a centerpiece, and a conversation stopper in any collection. Demand for this coin is explosive. Every serious Franklin collector knows they must have a 1950 Philadelphia strike. And when one appears at auction in very fine condition, it becomes the star of the show. Bidding wars erupt, numbers skyrocket, and jaws drop as the hammer falls at prices no one expected. This is not just a coin, it's a symbol of collector passion and a testament to the growing recognition of Franklin half dollars as treasures of American history. And now the revelation that will leave you stunned. The current market value of a 1950 Franklin half dollar without mint mark in very fine condition is a staggering $158,000. Yes, $158,000 for a single $1/2. And this is not fantasy, it is the living truth of today's auction market. Think about it. If this coin were in your collection, you wouldn't just be holding history, you'd be holding a fortune, a big treasure that could change your life overnight. And let me tell you this, the value is not done climbing. Each year, as collectors battle for the few survivors, prices soar higher and higher. Wait for time, and this treasure will only grow in power. This is not fiction. I am telling you the truth. The 1950 no mint mark Franklin half dollar is wealth disguised as silver, legacy sealed into metal, and opportunity waiting to be discovered. My advice is simple. never underestimate the early years of the Franklin series. Coins from 1948, 1949, and 1950 carry a magic all their own. And when found in collectible condition, they are nothing less than gold mines. If you encounter a 1950 Franklin half-dollar in very fine condition, protect it like the treasure it is. Store it carefully, never dismiss it as common, and know that you are holding a fortune in your hands. So here it is, the 1950 Franklin half-dollar, no mint mark, very fine condition, valued today at $158,000. A coin that proves Franklin half-dollars are not just history, not just silver, but treasures capable of changing lives. And with that, we conclude our journey through the top 8 ultra-rare and most valuable Franklin half-dollars. From the first strikes of 1948 to the final years of 1963, from uncirculated perfection to toned uniqueness, we've uncovered coins that carry not just wealth, but the heartbeat of America's past. And remember, this is not the end. Every day, coins like these appear, disappear, and resurface in collections and auctions. And here on True Coin Value, we are faithful, trustworthy, and always ready to bring you the newly updated truths about the treasures that might be hiding in your very own pocket change. So stay with us, because tomorrow could reveal the next big discovery and the next fortune.